Did you hear? Yeah, girl, what?
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Girl Did You Hear? I'm Kristen.
And I'm Jessica.
Today, Jessica has something she wants to talk about first.
Well,
Kind of threw you on the spot
I
there.
found out that I am not the only podcaster in my family. I know.
That was exciting to hear about, actually.
It is. To know that we have like similar interests, similar drive to get up here and the world stage and be like, these are my thoughts and ideas. It's a very scary place, actually. You don't really truly consider.
These are my opinions.
Yeah.
And
whether you like them or not, so what?
hope you enjoy.
My Auntie Joan, the name of her podcast with her co-host or host auntie, the name of the podcast is Pickled Watermelon Rinds. Pickled Watermelon Rinds.
Say that three times fast.
It's such a cute name.
It is cute.
She goes on to explain it as a guilty podcast featuring Auntie Joan and Auntie, providing a zesty, marginally mature take.
So they're like, she reached out to us and was like, hey, you know, I came across your guys' podcast, of course, you know, and she shared hers with us. And
it's such a cute little show.
It is cute. They are a little bit older than us, but they do talk about similar things as we do.
They do.
But their perspective is different because they're like a generation older than we are. So it's kind of interesting to...
It's great. I love like the different perspective. Like
yes.
their connection to their topics is
it was really cute. So go check them out. While you're doing that, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We do appreciate your support. Thank you so much. We love you guys. We really appreciate you. Let us know if you ever want to hear us talk about something or if you want to know our opinion on something.
We are open to all topics.
We are. Like, we're just throwing stuff out there and just kind of seeing what sticks and just, you know, this is random BS that Jessica and I talk about on the daily. So that's why we just decided to kind of bring it to you guys in front of the cameras and just have fun.
We thought you would want to know.
Yeah. I mean,
what
we thought that other women like our age, other best friends probably have the same types of conversations that we do, right?
To Auntie Jones,
Yeah.
Podcast.
And so that's kind of why we started our podcast was I was like, hey, like, people probably talk about the same stuff we do. Like, other girls probably talk about the same stuff we do.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why I always like tag us as like the ultimate bestie hangout, because it is like, it's all inclusive. We want all of you guys to come hang out with us and chat with us and share your thoughts, share your opinions with us. Even if you don't agree, like, that's totally fine. I want to hear all of it.
Absolutely.
Because we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Go check them out.
Pickled Watermelon Rinds.
Pickled Watermelon Rinds.
Yes.
I'll drop their links in the description and stuff, so make sure you check it out.
Thank you.
Okay, couple things. First of all, I'm excited to ask about this because I have not seen the movie yet. But you went and saw the new Beetlejuice movie.
I did.
What did you think of it?
I went and saw Beetlejuice in theaters, and I liked it. It was a cute movie. Okay. So it brought back a lot of its original characters, but had a different storyline. There was a lot of parallels to the original Beetlejuice movie, but again, was able to hold itself in a different movie.
Okay, interesting.
So, I mean, they brought back the same character, Michael Keaton, for Beetlejuice. They brought back the same character. Her name escapes me, for Lydia.
I know. Yeah.
And Lydia's stepmom. I believe that's the way that the story is told.
Right.
But to be honest with you, I had not watched the first Beetlejuice.
Which I was legitimately shocked.
I don't understand why everybody was so upset.
Okay, it wasn't just me that was shocked.
No.
Everybody in like your little circle was shocked that you have not seen this movie. Yeah. Everybody in my family that I told that I was like, hey, could you believe Jessica hasn't seen Beetlejuice?
What?
They were like, what? They're like, how has she not seen that? I was like, I know. And we say that because like you like it just seems like a movie you would definitely have seen along your journey growing up.
I understand that it has like its sarcastic charisma and that it goes through.
It's like kind of like weird and like eclectic-y, you know, and like
kind of like dark.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a dark sense of humor.
Yeah, we're both like that. And I legit thought like everybody from my generation have seen that freaking movie.
I guess it's a part of like our culture.
Apparently it is.
Well, so, I look back on when it was made, and it was made, the original Beetlejuice was made in 1988.
Yeah.
And so I am a child of the 80s. However, I was a baby in the 80s, and I really only started, you know, having my own freedom to watch movies after I moved out of the house. I mean, granted, I appreciate my parents, you know, laws and the strict rules that we had and the things that they would not let us watch.
Were you guys allowed to watch rated R movies in your house?
No. I mean,
could you watch Could you watch rated R movies if your parents watched it with you?
Yes.
Could you watch PG-13 movies on your own?
Yes.
But rated R was out of the question.
Right. As long as, I mean, if there was like, if our parents were in the room and we were having a family movie night, rated R movies were okay. But like if I'm watching my brother and sister, I'm babysitting perhaps.
So like how old were you like when those rules were in place? Or was that your house rule?
Those were the house rules.
Okay. House rules until you're out of the house. Mm-hmm. So like you, even like 16, 17, like you didn't really watch like you.
Well, because it just blew right past me. It was like, it was not an option. It wasn't really anything that I knew. I knew it existed, but I didn't really know it existed. It wasn't on my radar.
Fair. That's fair.
And then when I was out of the house and able to consume my own media at my pleasure, like again,
like, it
wasn't on my list of things to watch because it wasn't something that was like people were like, oh my God, you got to watch this. Or I was around a group of people while they were watching this movie. It was just never
something that came up, like,
and the only culture that I got exposed to was like the Beetlejuice fans who are I'm sorry, I'm gonna say that out in advance. Disclaimer, the Beetlejuice fans can be a little weird. Okay,
they can be.
I feel as if they fall into the same camp. Here I go again, exposing my opinions. They fall into the same camp as Nightmare Before Christmas fans.
Yes, well, it's
like
Tim Burton.
They're a little like,
it's Tim Burton and Tim Burton, like, he's the writer or whatever.
The creators, right. So I get it. I get why there's a draw.
I am not a huge
Nightmare
fan.
Before Christmas.
No. Like, I've seen the movie, but I'm not like, oh my gosh.
Jack Skellington. No.
But as we know from previous episodes, I'm not super fanny over things like that in general.
You don't fangirl out.
I do really like Beetlejuice. It's a very nostalgic movie for me.
It is funny.
My dad and I watched it all the time. All the freaking time, and it was just, I don't know, just a good movie, like good vibes movie, you know?
Right.
And when I watched it recently, because obviously the new one's coming out, so I had to like rewatch. Trevor was making fun of me. He's like, "Why are you watching that?" I was like, "Shut up."
Has he seen it?
Oh yeah, of course.
That's hilarious.
But I was like cracking up to myself, like as I'm watching this movie, and that I've seen like thousands of times, and it still makes me laugh.
Maitlands. It's the Maitlands.
The Maitlands.
That's the name I couldn't think of earlier.
Ah, yes.
That was the whole part. Okay. So the first Beetlejuice movie doesn't make any sense to me. The story
You were so upset about that.
So lost. Like I am looking for purposes in everything.
She likes to, have the story.
Like give me linear.
Yes.
I can't because it's let me collect my disgruntled opinions here.
Don't do that.
Because it was a matter of like, okay, so you have this couple in the house. People are mad at them for not having children. And then like, boo, sell the house. And then they get into a car crash. They die. Sorry, spoilers for Beetlejuice that was made in 1988.
If anyone hasn't seen that.
Sorry.
Anybody else in the world?
So they get in the car crash and they die. And then they come back to their house with someone else living in it. Obviously, that's fine. I get the whole death part. But then now it's their problem to get the people out of the house. They call some human cyst guy. I guess he's like a pest control for humans. And then...
But Beetlejuice got kicked out of
Yeah, he got fired from his job.
From being a ghost. from being dead.
And then he goes off to marry the little girl, or tries to marry the little girl of the family that currently lives in the house. Like, it was just like, bink, bink, bink.
It's
bink,
very
bink,
bizarre.
bink.
There's
like,
not a lot of sense that is made or logic that is made there
and
at all.
People's biggest beef with the new one is that there's too many storylines. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Really?
Yeah.
I heard, I saw a few people post that, a couple of people said that not worth your time, don't see it. I thought it was stupid kind of stuff. And I was like, well, obviously I'm still going to go see it.
Yeah. I think it's worth a watch.
And I saw a lot of people that were like, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought it was great, you know.
The way that they were able to separate Beetlejuice versus Beetlejuice, the way that they were able to carry like the same storyline, have same similar characters, but also tell a different story, like continue the narrative in a different, or just like continue the narrative with like more stories, or like build upon it. That's what I'm trying to say.
And I remember seeing vaguely a little article floating around from Tim Burton kind of like saying as to why it took so long for him to make a sequel.
I can't remember the exact amount of years, but it's a long time.
Yeah, because he had thought about making another, like when he made the first movie, he had intentions of making another one.
Right.
But for whatever reason, the storylines weren't coming together for him in the right way. I'm going to find that article because it's actually really cool, and I'll pop up the little facts for you guys.
36 years.
36 years. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
But like, it's crazy that when he first made that movie, that he knew that he was going to eventually make a second.
Not true.
Wait.
1988 to 2024?
That can't be. Because we're 40. Or you are.
Shut your mouth.
Jessica had a birthday recently.
I did. Yay. Still not telling people how old I am. But yeah, I mean, the original premise
29
comes. The struggle here is like, why do we have to have another Beetlejuice?
Right.
Why can't we have a new original Tim Burton story?
Right.
Why does it have to be a recap of, or an extension of, the original one made so many years ago? Sorry about my bad math.
Whatever. Math is hard. Numbers are hard. No, but there's like, I don't feel like there are any good movies coming out.
Content. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've seen trailers for movies coming out in the theaters that I'm like, oh, I want to go see that. Or even if I'm at the theater and I see the previews, like there's nothing that has been interesting to me. Like on coming up on Netflix, on any of the streaming platforms. I've been like scouring different platforms to try to find other things that are engaging, and I'm not finding anything.
I know. It sucks.
It does suck.
And it's not our fault.
No.
It's because of the way we digest media.
Do you think like, I don't know. Okay. It seems like from like mid 90s to like early 2000s was like a great like prime like movie media time. And this is all just my own speculations.
Right. These are your opinions.
These are my opinions. I am not a professional speaker in the movie film world at all. But
no clout.
Just from what I have observed, right? I do not think that there has been a lot of originality since like early 2000s type movies, like maybe mid 2000s, whatever, like 2008, 9, and prior to.
It's kind of when the drop off happens. Well, a lot of the things that I see are movies that come from books.
Yes,
like Dune came from a book.
Dune
came from a book.
Like Dune.
Yeah,
like Dune. Okay.
Dune was a movie and a book.
Never
and
heard
then
of
they rehashed it again. Like Dune has movies from the 80s.
Okay.
And now they have movies from the 2000s and 20-somethings.
What is Dune about?
Oh, I don't know how to get into it.
Okay, let's not. I'll look it up later.
It's complicated. Those who know. Like,
okay, that's fair.
It's one of those where it's been rehashed.
Okay.
Disney going at us with live reactions of stuff. Like, did I really need to see a live reaction as Simba
Right.
And The Lion King. Do I really need another version of The Little Mermaid? And I can't. It escapes me. I think Snow White is the next one that they're trying to put out as live action.
I
which
saw like a
treads on the line of
Tinkerbell, possibly too. Maybe I don't know.
So it's like, why can't we have a new Disney story?
Right. A new Tinkerbell story.
Right.
A new story with those characters, not the same story remade in better animation.
With new faces. Right, right.
In different faces, characters playing them or whatever.
Right.
Like to make it more realistic.
But I agree with you. It feels like in the 80s and 90s, especially in the early times, the movies were more organic.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the downfall has to be, like I said, with the way that we consume it. I think where it broke was when the streaming platforms came to play, because all of these people who are making movies are making all of their money at the movie theater. Like we had to get up and go to the movie theater, sit down, buy the popcorn, take time out of our day in order to consume this movie
that's true.
flick. And that's how they made their money. And then we waited. If we didn't see it in theaters, we waited months for it to come out to VHS or DVD.
Right.
It was a huge amount of time to where when the movie came back, it was like reinvigorated with us. We were like, oh my gosh, yeah, remember? I didn't get to see that. Or, oh, I watched that. I loved it. I want to buy it.
Yeah, like people
that's
would
how
wait.
Blockbuster was huge, right? So I think that's how people, like, they made big money on movies back in those times, because the way that they got the money from the movies was in like the movie theaters and the way that the media was sold.
Right.
But now that you can
access it anywhere, anytime.
Now that you can download it from the internet for either free or a tiny subscription fee. Like,
my hair keeps falling down. Sorry.
It's okay.
Keep fixing it.
It's I mean, I'll just wait. The amount of time it takes for something to get from the movie theater to a streaming platform is like no time at all.
No. What I do not like, but like sometimes on Netflix, is with the streaming platforms, I think it's cool how you have a broader selection.
Right.
It's still not great.
Well, because it opened up the world of entertainment companies.
So you have like so many like smaller like filmmakers, like, you know, getting their films out there, which is great for them. But I am not a fan of like dubbed movies where, you know, it's in like a different language and then they try to like, you know, make it in English and nothing's matching up on like their lips in any way. And it looks like it's bad. Like if it's a bad dub, I will turn it off in the first 30
like
seconds.
Early Godzilla movies, I feel you.
Like and it sucks because there has been a couple movies on Netflix that I've seen the trailers for, and they trick you because you don't always know that it's a dubbed movie by how the clips that they show during the trailers.
Right, they got that perfect lineup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it's like a quick flash so you don't see like the
mouth.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it starts, I'm like, turn it off.
I don't mind
Pick something else.
I don't mind it so much. Do you have the subtitles on at the same time?
I do not. But this is really funny and kind of contradictory of what I just said. I did watch an entire season on Netflix called the hell is it? The Queen of something.
Was this your Spanish one?
Yeah. And remember I told you about it. This is a long time ago. It was like 4 seasons of this like jail show. Queen of the South.
Right.
Great show actually. And it was all in Spanish. And I like basically read it because I had the subtitles on.
Okay.
So it was in Spanish.
But it wasn't dubbed. It wasn't dubbed to English.
It was not dubbed to English. It was in Spanish and it had English subtitles.
All right.
So I was reading it. And Trevor, of course, made fun of me for doing that. It's like, you're actually reading this. And I was like, I know. But
I'm consuming it either way.
I was invested. And
well, yeah, you went through all 4 seasons.
The fact that they were speaking Spanish, like, made it that much more intense to, like, watch. Like, it just seems like if it was done in English or dubbed in English, it wouldn't have been, like, as intense or, like, as authentic. Yeah. And made it because it's all about the Spanish, like the Mexican cartel, basically.
Have you heard of the Netflix special or series? Sorry, Squid Game.
Yes.
Okay, so
I have
Squid
not
Game
watched it.
is English dubbed.
That's why I have not watched it.
So
I tried to watch.
However,
tried to watch, turned it off.
it's not that bad though. I think the matching is okay.
Okay.
But the rest of the world agrees with you. Like you get more emotion, you get more vibes, if you will, from the natural language with the English subtitles.
I would rather watch the natural language.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus it just is horrible. Like some of
the
them are
voice
really
they
bad.
picked for the guy is not
Like,
great. Like his organic voice, the natural voice, he's got like this really it was better to listen to him in his, I think it's Korean. I think it was better to listen to him in his natural language than it is to try and have like some American guy like dub over, because I've watched tons and tons of anime, and if I have to watch it, I prefer to have it dubbed.
Right.
But like with cartoons, the matchup isn't as bad.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter as much because it's a cartoon.
And
but
some shows or movies are, if they're dubbed in English, sometimes they're not that bad and I can get through it.
Right.
But
it's a matter of how much work is your imagination willing to put in. Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
it is. Do you think that like the issue with why, I wonder if anybody else agrees with us. I want to know. Does anybody agree that there's no originality, it seems like, in movies?
It just feels like we're regurgitating everything from 2014 on.
Yes. And also like TV shows. I feel like there's nothing really like new, or there's no creativity. Like there's a lack of creativity, or like, I don't know what's going on in the film industry world, but I just feel like there's definitely a noticeable difference of poor content, in my opinion. I don't want to say poor, but like,
is it poor content, or is it the fact that we're now oversaturated?
Maybe we are. I was gonna. My next question to you was gonna be like, do you think like social media has an effect on the creativity or the filmmaking of these, well-known filmmakers?
Well, because think about how many different studios we've got now.
Right.
Like we used to have just the big ones that made the movies that went into the theaters, and then you had the little guys that had like their own little film festival thing, and then that was it.
No,
but
they're huge now.
I mean, think about it. You have Netflix. Apple makes their own stuff. Like, you can't watch Apple stuff anywhere other than Apple. Like,
and there's like so many independent filmmakers out there streaming their movies on platforms and stuff too,
and
which
like,
is crazy.
You think
which
of
is
all
great.
These extras that we've got that are now putting out series and shows and movies and things, and then we're pulling stuff from other countries.
Do you think people are getting like lazy though with like the type of content that they're putting out?
Because there's so much.
Because
why
there's
come
so
up with
much?
something new? Probably.
They're like, oh, well, that's already out there, so we can't do that.
Nah.
Do you think there's just like a lack of ideas? Like that can't be.
Like a creativity, maybe?
Creativity? I don't know. There's definitely something there, and it's frustrating. When you're like in the mood to like chill and like watch like a good movie, and you can't find a good movie.
Do you turn to out of your repertoire?
My repertoire.
Like what's a movie that could be just playing and you could pick it up anywhere?
Oh gosh. Any Adam Sandler movie. Why do you make that face at me?
Because I am not an Adam Sandler fan.
What?
To any extent.
What?
No. Sorry, sis.
I have learned something new.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, like,
Adam Sandler is a big
comedies are just not my jam. Like that, his style of comedy is just not funny to me.
Some of his comedy, I will say, some of his movies and some of his comedy in his movies are just not funny.
Why is he yelling all the time?
Because it's funny. That's
Is
like,
it?
I mean, well, that's his persona.
Comedy?
That's his character.
Okay.
I mean, I get it.
That's where he
I
lost
get it
me.
though. I get it because it's like it kind of Adam Sandler kind of reminds me of Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
I don't know why I connect those two together for some reason, but like
because they're both brilliant in their comedy.
Yeah, like weird. Well, Adam Sandler and a lot of his stand up does a lot of like singing. Like he plays guitar.
I can see why you would tie those two together.
He has a lot of like singing, like weird.
Yeah, he's got
like
that Hanukkah
his
song.
stand-up comedy is way different than like the comedy that's in his movies.
Right.
Have you ever seen any of his stand-up before?
Yes.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, but Weird Al, like, you know, does the same kind of thing with like his songs and stuff. So, but yeah, I kind of class them together. But I could see why, you know, some people probably aren't a fan of him.
And unfortunately, Will Ferrell kind of falls into that same category for me.
Yeah, I'm not huge on Will Ferrell as far as like I've seen his movies and like some of them are funny, but overall, no.
But like, if you want to talk about originals, every single one of Adam Sandler's movies is an original thought.
Do you know that now that you just said that and we're talking about like sequels and stuff, I'm pretty sure I saw something recently that he was going to be doing a Happy Gilmore 2.
How many years ago was that in bad math?
I don't know. Probably about the same. 36 years ago.
36 years ago.
That's the number.
36 years.
That's the number. Have you watched, what is your go-to movie or go-to thing to like put on? Like I could put on any true crime thing, like Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. I could always just like put on the TV to have. Criminal Minds could always be on the TV.
Right.
Stuff like that could always just like be on the TV, like in background noise, and I can like that type of stuff.
I have to admit, I digest a lot of media, so there's a lot of stuff that I can run on the background right now. Since we're in football season, it's football every Monday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Who's the football fan in your house?
Me.
Oh yeah. I know. I'm just kidding.
It's me.
It's me.
I mean, and go Broncos. But
whoop, whoop.
Any like the Mad Max movies. Here's a comment of the rehashing. Any of the new Mad Max movies.
Okay. I don't know if I know the difference between the new and the old Mad Max movies.
So there was Mad Max movies that came out in the 80s, and then there's Mad Max movies that came out in like 2019 and just recently.
I don't know for sure if I can say that I've seen the older ones or not.
I haven't seen the older ones.
I don't think I have seen the older ones. Pretty sure I have not.
Right. Guardians of the Galaxy. I can watch that one pretty much anywhere except the beginning.
See, that was not one that I got on board with.
I loved that movie.
I could not. That was like one of those weird, like in my friend group growing up, like everyone was like, "Oh, I love that movie," and I was like, "Really?
Good for you guys." Yeah. No, I mean, but that's okay. That's why we're allowed, right? That's why there's so much different content.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the ability to have so much content, but it's like, do we have so much content in the world that it's becoming an issue for people to make original content in movies and TV shows?
Like you said earlier, is it because that's already been done? Is
the social media, just saturating our fucking brains so much that it's just sucking every creative element out of it?
Yeah. Well, because it's already been done. It's opened up the world to you. Thought you were the only one that was doing this, but look, here's 6 other people who are doing the same thing.
Correct. And then you think about, okay, so obviously, the way that movies have developed and evolved, like with their graphics and whatever, all the stuff they can do, like the realism and stuff now is amazing. I wonder, do you think, like, I'm sure a lot of people in the film industry were using AI way before we were for creating movies and stuff like that. I wonder if that is an issue. Like, is that a negative or positive side, do you think, in the film industry?
That we have all of this technology to create
like that people have AI. Like, you could probably create a whole movie script using AI.
How do we know they haven't already?
I'm sure they have. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. They probably had access to AI way before we did.
Right.
In the sense of, creating on that side of things. But do you think that is because they had access to all of that stuff earlier, or they were creating, like, we got to make movies better. We got to have the graphics better. We got to make it more real. We got to do this. We got to do this. You got to make it better, better, better. Do you think that, like, it's gotten, like, to, like, a plateau?
Well, I do, because I think technology's kind of peaked.
Like, where do we go from here, right?
Remember how the movie theaters went from, like, single vision to 3D to 40
to IMAX 40
rumble seats, and now it like mists in your face, and it's just so crazy. Like, I think it's like the technology is plateaued, because how much better can you get visually, audially, experientially.
Right.
Like it's kind of, you're limited to your technology. But since we've had such a huge technology boom between like 1980 and now, like one of the main reasons why the legend behind Star Wars, why they did 1, 2, and 3 in the time period that they did that, is because we had the graphic technology to make it look a certain way.
Right.
And because you couldn't do that in 4, 5, and 6 because they were making special effects way differently.
Yeah.
So
which is crazy that they even thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that says a lot about their brain.
Right. How much pre-planning is going on to know that, you know, hey, we're eventually going to have this ability to do that. So wait.
You know what else is interesting? I'm changing subjects slightly, but it just reminded me of something. Remember the other day when I told you about the Mandela Effect?
Yes.
I just thought of it because I was thinking about that stupid movie Shazzam.
Kazaam.
No. It
See,
was Shazzam.
That's why you're misremembering it. Because you're making up your own facts.
But I'm not the only one.
Putting them on. That's fine.
There's
you can be
hundreds and thousands of people out there. I cannot wait until you have your own Mandela Effect. And you're going to be like, oh my God, Kristen.
I don't have that kind of...
this is fucking with my head.
I don't carry those kind of ideas with that much amount of weight. Like I don't... You know, there's one for Lilo and Stitch.
There's so many of them.
For like... First of all, they had Lilo and Stitch in the beginning of the movie. When Lilo's hiding from her sister, she hides in the dryer.
Uh-huh.
And then they edit it to where she's no longer hiding in a dryer. She's hiding in a cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, wait, what happened to the dryer? And Disney's like, no, the dryer never happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, the dryer was there.
Right. But like,
there's video. We all own copies of Lilo and Stitch that show her sister hiding in the dryer.
But why are people putting out content for people to observe, changing one thing in that scene, and then re-putting it out, and people are saying, what the heck, this was something else, and those people are now saying that never existed?
So for that example...
Why are they saying that?
For that example is because there was enough problems, or the theory is... Excuse me, I should be correct
theories.
Here. The theory is that children were already having enough problems hiding in dryers that Disney didn't need to be supporting children hiding in dryers, so they changed the visual effects of it to not have Lilo in a dryer in a cabinet instead.
If that is the actual reasoning, when questioned, why don't they just say that instead of saying it never existed?
Or it wasn't like
that. Because that's just a mind fuck
at that point. It's easier to say it wasn't like that than to go through all the explanation as to, well, you know, too many people were blaming us for their children getting stuck or dying in their dryers. So then we're like, okay, we're going to change this scene.
Yeah, but like, that's fucked up.
I mean, and that's just one theory. That's just one theory as to why Disney changed it.
Yeah. I mean, there could be other theories out there, of course, but it just is crazy to me because...
What's your favorite Mandela Effect?
My favorite one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that one...
Or what's the one you believe in, like...
The Shazzam one. Like, that was the one that affected me the most.
Okay, so explain that one to me.
Because Shazzam is a movie about this kid that has, like, a genie, and he... You know, the genie is able to grant him wishes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, Sinbad was the genie.
Okay.
Not Shaquille O'Neal, who they show now as Kazaam or whatever the freaking name is that they changed the whole freaking movie on. Like, I'm telling you.
Ooh, this is a hill.
No. There was a girl that went psycho over the fucking Fruit of the Loom Mandela Effect.
The cornucopia.
Yes, she went psychotic over it and found like an old tag from a t-shirt that had the original Fruit of the Loom logo on it with the cornucopia or whatever on there.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, like she was going, like, it was really affecting her mentally because she was like, no, I know that this is real. So like, but imagine thinking something that you're like, I know that I saw this with my own 2 eyes, and everyone around you is like, no.
Okay, so think about it this way.
There's
so
many
has
other
Fruit of the Loom
people
sold? And so maybe it's now the Fruit of the Loom instead of Fruit of the Loom. So the company traded hands, and one of the parts of the business was once they traded hands, they had to change
their
the logo
for
enough,
like trademark or something,
because they didn't want to change it 100% because people recognize, hey, fruits with my underwear.
Right.
So I'm going to go to that fruity underwear company every time because I like the way they fit.
Right.
Regardless of the basket or not, it was the fruit of the loom that you like associated the name with. So whether or not there was a basket in the back is irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so maybe the Fruit of the Loom as a company was like, no, we as the Fruit of the Loom have never had a cornucopia in our logo, but Fruit of the Loom
did, yeah.
So that's what my logical brain is like.
And that's
there's
great
too many
logic.
excuses. There's too many excuses to like make that be.
Yeah. I guess I just don't understand, if it is so logical like that, why don't they just say it?
Because it's not that simple.
No, it
because
is that simple, actually. You say, hey, we were Fruit of the Loom.
Right. And now we're the
Fruit of the Loom.
Right.
Like, because that does happen sometimes.
Right.
If a big company, well-known company is bought out or whatever, like they may change one small thing. That makes logical sense. Yes. Because you have trademarks and so much stuff.
But this lady going wild, like
she
losing
was going
her
wild.
mind.
I mean, I
because there's no logical train of thought.
These are things that I could not spend a lot of brain energy on thinking about.
You spiral out of control.
I go down some wormholes sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, like, why is it like this? Like, why is the world like this sometimes? Like, why do I feel like everything is just fucking with us sometimes in like a simulation almost?
Well, they got to keep us on our toes.
I guess.
Was the Matrix an owner's
They're like,
manual?
hey. They're like, or like the Men in Black with the little, flashing thing.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of rehashing, how many of those are we on?
Men in Black?
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't they just come out with a new freaking Bad Boys movie?
Yeah.
Like, okay, another example. Like, why? How many Fast and Furious movies did they make after what's his name died?
Like 10 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
a lot.
Too many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. The story doesn't need to continue that long. Like, what is the purpose?
But
what
it's a
is
franchise. It's a franchise.
It is.
People
it is.
buy the
people
stuff.
buy into it.
Right.
They buy into it. There are everyone has fans. They accumulate fans over everything, right?
We've got some fans.
We've got a couple. Speaking of, make sure you hit that join button. I mean, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like.
I'm going to make it a like button.
Like and subscribe.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, that was an interesting rant about movies.
Yeah.
Stuff.
We got into that one.
I don't even know. We went all over. We went like over here and then came back over here.
Pickled watermelon,
Beetlejuice.
Rinds, Beetlejuice, fucking
lack of originality. I want to know, what kind of movies and shows do you guys watch? What is your guilty pleasure as far as movies? And
what is your go-to for background noise?
Like, what do you watch? Lately, before we wrap up, I watched the Good Girls again. Have you seen that show?
No.
What? It's so funny.
I think that's why. I have a really bad poor sense of humor.
You have a unique sense of humor.
What does that mean?
Why did you do that?
Because I wanted to process my thoughts. Think about my words before I say them.
Good job, Jessica. Good job. I don't say unique in like a bad way. I mean, like, you have
it's different. It is because
I describe it. I want to say a dry sense of humor.
It is. That's the first word I go to. Dry or dark is kind of the way people describe my sense of humor.
And it's not like
uncommon for people to have that type of sense of humor. I don't know
what my type of humor would be. Because I find things funny that most people do not find funny. But I also find things funny that everybody else finds funny. But there are some also things that I'm like I'll crack up at stuff and Trevor's like
weirdo.
Yeah. Like stupid reels and TikToks and
Right,
stuff.
right.
Like I laugh out loud sometimes to them. And he's
so
like,
let us know what's your weird
yeah,
guilty pleasure.
let us know, guys.
Crime documentaries. We all watch those.
Oh yeah.
God, I love those.
So good. We'll have to have an episode about true crime.
Yeah.
Some good stuff. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate you hanging out with us on the Ultimate Bestie Hangout. I'm your host, Kristen.
And I'm your host, Jessica.
We will see you on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.
Girl, did you hear?
Nah, girl, what?